Hey, I'm Butterfly.
Hey, I'm Firefly.
Have you ever wondered if we aren't being told the truth about everything?
What have we been lied to about? Join us as we have conversations and ask questions about everything. We invite you to keep an open mind and consider the unfathomable.
Let's break the chains that enslave our minds. Come on, let's go down the rabbit hole.
What's up, Butterfly?
Hey, Firefly, what's going on?
We're doing our first episode in the new studio.
I'm so excited.
So here we are. We're legitimate.
I know. So
No more libraries.
we've been just borrowing like rooms like at the library, and that just wasn't conducive to the movement that the renaissance, the revolution that we are trying to
Foment.
foment.
Yes,
Yes.
I agree. And now we don't have to worry about somebody coming over the PA and going, "Excuse me, if you have the 10 speed, there's a large gentleman who can't get around it. You have to move it. Thank you." And then that comes in on our podcast, and I have to like address it.
So this is a very exciting day for us, and we are excited that our 120 listeners
We've got
are
121 followers.
121
Yes,
followers.
we just had a
Beautiful.
new
That's only
follower
on
on Rumble.
Rumble. We always announce the number based on Rumble,
Yes,
but we do have followers on all those other platforms too. So
Insta,
yeah, well, yeah, and also like RSS,
RSS.
Apple,
Oh my gosh,
Spotify.
I went
Yeah,
and looked at the analytics, and we're in like so many countries. I can't even remember how many
I
countries we
know.
are.
So we're like kind of popular in what was it, Vietnam?
Vietnam,
The
Singapore,
yeah, Singapore.
Australia.
So anyway, this episode I would like to dedicate to all of those listeners
Yes.
because we are hopeful that our listeners will share the episodes with more people and we'll get more listeners, and maybe some people will buy a t-shirt or something when we start selling those on our website, and then we will be able to fund this new studio that we've procured.
Yes.
Um,
But that was kind of the gist of this episode, though.
mhm.
That
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 this episode topic is kind of perfect for
that's a good
what's
lead in
happening right now.
because what happened is trying to get into this office was a bureaucratic nightmare.
It was. Well, we're going to do a whole episode
We'll do
on
a whole episode on
it's
that.
kind of like, that episode we did before that was Everything Sucks.
It's Everything Sucks
It's
2.0.
it's going to be Everything Sucks Part 2, but I wanted to start off our new studio space episode with something not quite as well. I don't know if this isn't quite as bad or
It's
awful,
more
but
macro
yeah.
than our specific situation.
But what we're going to talk about today is, has America become meaner?
What I was thinking
You had
is
this idea.
the heart of America has become hardened in black.
Yeah.
We used to have a tender heart. Like I remember even when I was a little kid, and then when you watch television shows from the 60s and the 50s, you see that America had a tender, loving heart.
Well, you know what? I think this spans beyond even America. I think this is probably a global thing, if
Probably.
you want to use that word globe.
It's a flatter thing.
But your idea, though, I think it's relevant, and it continues to be more relevant and obvious as like kind of the corruption becomes more apparent and people wake up more. But yeah, it seems like the world has become darker and more heartless and more accepting of corruption and immorality,
That's what I think
right?
it is. You know, we kind of just accept that there's organized crime and that there's a big mafia running everything. We accept that
Which there is.
all of our business leaders and political leaders are all corrupt and on the take.
Yeah.
We just accept that.
And they kind of just get away with murder,
They
literally.
get away with murder, and we all just we've kind of learned to accept that life is full of injustice and shitty people.
Yeah. I just think I just had my first epiphany in the new
First
space.
epiphany of the studio. I love it.
Yes. So, I think that the youth of America, for sure, and I think probably worldwide, has been taught to hate themselves and to
Yes.
hate their country.
Yes.
So we used to be a country that, people were proud and, we were proud to be American
That's
and
right.
that was instilled in young people and people were proud of that. And I think this all plays into um so, like so much of the debauchery and immorality that we see happening with like kids are being taught that, you can just chop off your body parts and be a different gender or whatever,
Yes.
and you
Or
know,
the one lady goes, I'm gonna make you famous, sweetie. Come here. You're gonna have sex with 100 dudes today.
yeah, I mean, I think that you have to have been taught to hate yourself in order to go along with that. And like
Yes.
when I
Taught
see,
to hate yourself.
yeah, and when I see somebody who is, you know, just covered in tattoos, like I saw this guy the other day, at a kid's baseball game, and he had tattoos all over his face and just random tattoos all over his legs and stuff. And I just thought to myself, how much self-hatred does this person have?
That's
Like,
what it is.
you've got to hate yourself in order to like destroy yourself like that,
You
And
did that to yourself, like almost in
yeah,
anger and hate.
yeah. So I think it's like are being taught to hate themselves and to hate their country, and they're pushing this whole communism is good thing with like we
Yes.
talked about this many times, when we were kids, communism was bad. It was scary. It was like
Everybody knew that.
everybody knew that. Nobody wanted that.
Nobody
Nobody
liked
wanted
it.
to live in like communist China or, North Korea or whatever. But now it's like, oh, communism is good. And like, oh no, the North Korea, Kim Jong-un is just not doing it the right way.
Bernie Sanders says, excuse me, you do not need to have that many different types of deodorant.
Maybe I want that many types of different
I
deodorant,
like that.
and maybe, that's part of, capitalism and people living out the American dream. Maybe there's somebody that came up with a new deodorant idea, you know what I mean? Just for
Yeah.
example. So, but I think that's
Ooh,
where
and
the
that is
heart
an
is.
epiphany too.
What?
I think people who hate themselves are more conducive to communism because they'll
Yes,
submit.
exactly.
They're
So
demoralized.
they're this is all about demoralization, and you can't have people jumping on board with communism unless they're taught to hate their country, right?
They got
Because
to hate America and
if
hate themselves.
if you love your country, you're not gonna, want a communism situation happening. And so you've got to hate yourself, hate your country. And when you hate yourself, you're more likely to be immoral and tattoo your face and
Yeah.
chop off your body
No,
parts,
that's a good point.
you know?
That's a very good point. And chop off your body parts.
Yeah,
And the other thing too is if you're demoralized, you're much more easily manipulated and controlled by the media.
exactly. Because you need somebody to tell you what to do and to tell you that, no, this is the right way of doing it.
I think this goes back to my working thesis, and I've talked about this a lot, is that the people from that country from 1948 took over this country in 1963.
Hmm.
And I think that it's safe to say that they, by taking over our media, have been instrumental in helping people to um, not only hate themselves, but also become more hard-hearted.
Yeah,
And what I mean by hard-hearted is, um, you know, I think people don't value human life as much as they used to.
that's a really good point. That's a
Because
really
there
good
was a time when if you watched a documentary and you saw a kid suffering, you really cared and you wanted to do something about it. And Americans would pool together and do something about suffering.
Well, people have become numb,
They become numb.
numb and dumb. And a lot of that is because where it's this constant stimulation all the time, and you're not shown, some horrible thing that's happening in the world once a day or once a week or whatever, even, once at night on the nightly news. Now you're seeing it all the time, all day long while you're scrolling through, Instagram or whatever, or, you're on the internet and it just pops up, it's constantly, you're bombarded, and people have the attention spans of gnats. And so
That's
they're
true.
constantly scrolling to the next thing, and there's a new breaking news thing that comes out every 5 minutes, so people become numb and
Desensitized.
desensitized, and it takes a lot more for somebody to be shocked and like appalled by something, so
And I think that circumstance is conducive to the culture club
hmm
because the culture club wants us to be all feudal lords overseeing a bunch of serfs with no upward mobility. And we have to submit to that.
right. And the system that they have created and that they want makes everything so difficult. Like everything is so complicated and difficult, and everything is so expensive. It's like impossible for people to get ahead. So people sort of just, roam around on, like,
Park in parking lots. How many dudes have we seen?
yeah.
Or like, it sound like Joe Rogan. He's going, dude, you shouldn't even bother being a writer.
Yeah.
The AI can write 300 scripts in the time it took you to walk up the stairs, dude.
I know. So they put out this idea that, nobody try, nobody be ambitious. And there's almost like no incentive to be ambitious or to work hard
I heard Joe
because,
Rogan the other day, and the new talk track is, dude, humans are obsolete. You
hmm
shouldn't even bother getting into a relationship with a chick. Consider hooking up with a robot, dude.
oh my God, he
That's
said
like
that.
where he's at.
Oh God,
Yeah, he's
he's
like,
on board with the brain chip.
you just come on, dude.
Yeah.
Humans are
Well,
obsolete.
so the system makes it difficult for everybody, and nobody really has control. You know what I mean? Like everything is just like run by some corporate entity somewhere. And so it's like I think what they're trying to do is take out the aspect of personal involvement and control over anything, so that people have this sense of being feeling weak and having no control over
Helpless.
helpless, having no control. So then they end up looking to the media and the government for help and guidance,
Totally. And then
and
Satan's there going, good, good, good. That's a good point. You are helpless, but look, come here and do this. And then what I think it is Brave New World.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, you are helpless. No, that's a good point.
yeah,
So here, take your soma. Don't
just
get
relax,
agitated.
don't get agitated,
Go
just
have
stay
sex with your
calm.
neighbor, kind of like having a Starbucks.
Yeah,
And then just watch our Netflix.
yeah.
Dude, it's
And
okay.
so they get people in this state. And so it's a lot easier to control them. And once people are in that state, um, most people I've realized, I think most people do not keep an open mind. You know how,
Oh,
you
we've talked
know,
about that. Yeah.
our line in our intro, we invite you to keep an open
Keep
mind.
no money.
Um, because you really can't grow if you don't have an open mind. And,
Yes.
if you don't have an open mind, that means that you're closed off to learning or even hearing any new ideas.
Yeah,
And if you cannot hear or learn anything new, then you're not going to grow. You're going to be stagnant and you're going to be on autopilot. You're going to, people roam around like drones, just kind of on autopilot, and then they auto replay everything that they've heard. So you're just going to regurgitate whatever the media is telling you. If you keep an open mind, you are able to grow and, evolve as a person. And I think, isn't it better to grow and evolve and be able to change your mind and your views if you get new information,
yeah,
than to just like stick your head in the sand and be stubborn about like not changing your mind about something that you thought you were right about.
that's right.
I mean, there's so many things that I've learned in the last just few years that completely go against and contradict like everything I learned
Yeah.
in my entire life. But
You had to be open minded to it.
I'm open-minded to it.
You could have been like, "Oh, no, no, I'm just not going to go there because I
Yeah,
don't. I've been learning that those people lives matter is good, so I'm just going to keep thinking that."
right. And
And it's like, but wait a second, Butterfly, check out this video of the dude getting handled with kid gloves by the cops for an hour and a half. And it's like, well, no, 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 no. I don't know.
no.
Nancy Pelosi's kneeling in her African garb.
Or what about the fact that like that for so just to support that little example that you gave, that organization was totally run by admitted communists.
Lesbian commies
Yeah,
who
which
moved to a white area
yeah,
with
which
the money.
I guess isn't a problem if you have been taught that communism is good. So I mean, but
You know,
the
it's kind of like the founder's trap, what you're describing. Remember, I told you about the founder's trap? So that's when someone starts a company and they don't take anybody's input. So everybody just does what they're told by the CEO.
oh right,
But the CEO doesn't know that he's got a blind spot and somebody else's input is necessary for him to overcome that blind spot.
yeah,
But he's just like, I know everything and nobody tells me anything. I'm
yeah,
not open to input from other people.
yeah,
I've got too big of an ego. And I think, kind of talking about this episode, a hardened heart.
yeah,
Because when you have a hardened heart, then you become egotistical and kind of like fuck everyone else.
right,
That's not the right attitude to have these days because we're getting lied to.
yeah,
So you have to be open minded to the notion that what you've been the, the the premise that you've been acting on your whole life might be incorrect. And that's hard to come to terms with because I remember like realizing, dude, I've been lied to about everything from school, the movies, the music. It's all lies. It's all fake. And it's kind of a black pill.
it is because it's depressing. It's like when you find out that big things in your life that you thought to be one way are actually not, and it was a lie, it's depressing and it's scary because um, then I mean my next logical thought after finding something like that out is okay, if that's a lie, then
What
what
else?
else might they be lying about? Because there's probably more than one lie, you know?
Well, that country from 1948, my thesis is they took over in 1963. They took over our media and our politics, and they've been lying to us about everything from whether the earth is flat or not, to the space program, to even like how you should feel about yourself and starting a business and having self-determination.
Yeah,
They're telling you don't do that.
right.
You don't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
They're, you know, and they want to convince everybody that you need to accept a pathetic life and hurry up and order your coffin.
Yeah, except mediocrity.
Accept mediocrity and then also order your coffin.
Yeah,
Hurry up and do that.
yeah,
You know, or also too, if they get you in this black-hearted, demoralized state, what happens then? You enter into big shawarma.
that's what they want.
They want you in big
They want you to be on Big Shawarma because once you get on one Big Shawarma, that leads to
shawarma.
it's like an addiction,
Well, those
you know?
antidepressant pills, I think, are gateway
Oh
drugs.
yeah, because so all of this stuff is probably going to make you depressed.
Yeah,
And then that's like key because that's what they want. Because then most likely you're probably going to like go get some big shawarma for the
that's
antidepressant.
right. I saw this commercial on Tubi. Do you see that commercial where the guy is the auctioneer and he's talking real fast? He goes, "Got to tell you right now, I've been feeling really bummed lately. I really need somebody to talk to. Got some really heavy thoughts on my mind." And the other guy's an auctioneer. He goes, "Right here, I got ZocDoc, and you can go on ZocDoc. You can find yourself a psychologist right here on it." And they got an app where you can choose a psychologist to talk to you over the phone,
Oh
and
God.
they just listen to your problems and probably prescribe you big shawarma.
Yeah.
So
They're
they've made it very easy.
it's probably AI too. It's probably a robot.
Oh my God,
Cause,
totally.
cause who's gonna like actually sit there and listen to random people over the phone,
And
you
that's the
know?
other thing too that kind of pertains to the blackening of America's heart is we don't really care about your problems.
No. We just want you to like get on Big Shawarma so that you'll get on
Yeah,
more Big Shawarma and
hurry
then
up and die.
you'll die soon.
Hurry up and die.
Yeah.
See, America didn't used to be like that. America, there was a social contract and people genuinely cared about one another.
Yeah. People like knew their
You
neighbors
knew your neighbor.
and did nice things for them. They were friendly. If a new neighbor moved in, people would bring them cookies or something, welcome them to the neighborhood.
And people rose up against organized crime and injustice.
Right.
They stood up against it.
So I think all of this whole theme that we see happening is, I don't think it's an accident. I think it's by design. And it's interesting because if you look at like our world today and compare it to like maybe even 40 years ago, our world has become more gray. Have
Yeah,
you noticed that?
totally. The buildings,
The buildings have become gray and more plain and
bland.
boring looking, bland. The cars, like almost like if you just look at a freeway, like it's like gray, 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 silver, white, black. I'm looking out the window right now of our beautiful,
We got a
we,
view of the
we
freeway,
have a window
and we
view
can
of the
comment
freeway.
on. And you're right, totally.
Yeah,
Cars
you
don't.
just,
They don't evoke any
yeah.
kind of like, oh my God, that's cool.
Yeah, if you look at the cars from like, the 70s and 80s, there was red, there was yellow, green,
Look at an Impala from
different
1967. They're so
different
bitchin' looking.
colors. Yeah. And now everything is kind of shades of gray. Everything's shades of gray. And same with like the buildings. And even I've noticed, there's this whole kind of thing where people are wearing a lot of gray and nude colors. Like everything's just sort of bland. You know what I mean? So
Like, think about,
remember the in the 80s it was like that neon phase.
yeah,
Everything was bright and
totally. And that was cool.
yeah.
The 80s was a much happier time. I remember I was kind of a young kid. I was 5 in 1980. So I was 5 to 15 during the 80s, which, okay, I'm a kid, so you're probably happier, but
Yeah.
it was a happier time.
Yeah. I mean, people were happy back then, I think, but I think they've kind of like put this whole it's like a color scheme. They've put a gray color scheme
Totally.
in the world, and that is to say that everything is gray, including your where you are and your life.
It's
Your
to
life
make you
is
like that.
gray.
They want you to be
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And that's why when you cruise around, like I've heard you even say, like you'll go, dude, I went around town, I'm so bummed out. Just people bum me out, buildings bum me out, and everything looks kind of run down and lame.
Yeah.
I remember I watched this documentary about the Notre Dame Cathedral getting burnt down in 2017 by some muzzies. They're like, we don't want this. And so they just burned it down. And I don't think anybody was even charged with a crime for that or whatever.
Mhm.
But that's neither here nor there. So they burnt down. They didn't burn it completely to the ground, but they did a lot of damage to the Notre Dame Cathedral.
I have a theory about that.
What?
Well,
Let me finish my point, and then
okay.
you tell me your theory,
Okay.
because I don't want to forget my point. The
Okay.
point is that that cathedral, when they rebuilt it, I saw it. It inspires awe and it's beautiful. The facade is beautiful. All of the decor, the ornate decor is so beautiful. The stained glass windows are inspiring. The spires that go up to the heavens. You look at the building and you feel something. You feel good. You
Yeah.
feel inspired. You feel like, wow, you admire that. If you look at the buildings, like they just built like a roach motel here and where we live,
Yeah.
where they're going to have a bunch of cockroaches staying.
Mhm.
That building evokes the opposite.
Yeah. Well, they don't want people to be inspired and feeling awe.
What was your theory about
Well,
the Notre Dame?
well, I love listening to this guy, My Lunch Break. I've sent you some of his videos.
Yes.
He talks about all the lost history and how
Yes.
things have been destroyed and
He's
burned
got the
down.
mud flood idea, right?
Yeah, and I totally believe that there were advanced civilizations here a long time ago because the way that some of these really old cities, like Paris with the old buildings, were designed back way when they say that the buildings were built, it doesn't really add up to the size of the population at the time. you know?
That's interesting how you
So,
say that too, because our modern engineers were struggling to recreate the forest. They called it the forest, and that was the intricate architecture at the top of the cathedral.
yeah, well, it's just, well, that kind of reminds me
So
of,
we might have been more advanced in 1200 when we built it.
yeah, like how did they build all those things with no power tools? And they were like hauling the supplies with like carriages and stuff drawn by horses. I mean, it
And maybe those spires are conducive to electricity.
exactly. But
Like he had the idea, I think my lunch break and some other people had the idea that we use big blimps, and the blimps would come in and recharge with the spires,
mhm,
and people would get out of the blimp up by the spire and
mhm.
walk down.
Well, not only that, but you know, the the idea is that all what they do is they're trying to destroy our original history, and so they burn down a lot of these old buildings and things.
Oh,
they
that could have
they
been.
burn them down and destroy like the evidence basically of what it was and what it, how it was built and all the underground structures. So I wonder if that fire of Notre Dame was planned to do something exactly like that. And it's funny how, to talk about how we probably had advanced technology way, way, way long time ago in previous civilizations.
Yeah.
And now it's like they built all these castles and really elaborate, beautiful buildings, and now they can't seem to put anything like nearly even close to that together in a way longer time frame. Like they lost the technology.
Well, I mean,
What
look at
is
the technology, especially with AI.
but what does that remind you of? You know how they said that they haven't been able to get back to the moon since 1969
We
because
lost the
they
technology.
lost the
We don't,
technology.
and then we also lost the technology to build the forest in the top of the cathedral.
Yeah,
Totally. The
so
lost of technology excuse
it's
is no, 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 no.
it,
We want you to have a bland dystopia.
yeah. Well, I think there's some truth to them losing the technology in the way that these, modern civilizations are because those old buildings and old cities, um, the buildings that they had and they're still standing and they were like supposedly built 300 years ago or whatever,
Yeah.
that doesn't really add up to what we think that they were using
I
back
think the
then.
Culture Club has taken that data. I don't think they've lost any data.
No,
No data got lost.
no.
I think the data is used for, they have lands that they haven't told us about
Mm-hmm.
where all of that technology is being used and
Exactly.
their lifestyle is excellent.
Yeah.
Us useless eaters are not entitled to that
So,
technology.
oh my gosh. So just imagine, so if there was a really advanced civilization or many civilizations in the past that were much more advanced than us, and we know that they built these extraordinary buildings and castles and palaces like hundreds of years ago. So if those things were built and cities were designed by these advanced civilizations that had technology that was way more advanced than what we have now, or maybe about the same as what we have, who knows? Can you imagine if all of that technology is still being used, but it's advanced even more? So
Yeah,
basically, like if they are using it in like some hidden lands somewhere, they would be even more advanced now than they were 300 years ago, don't you think?
totally.
So, like, if we're, we have computers and we have little computers we hold in the palms of our hand, and that's pretty advanced technology, but like, what do you think it's going to be 300 years from now?
Totally.
Well, it's going to be brain chips probably, but even something else. So the technology that they had to do all those buildings 300 years ago, if those people or that technology is still around and it was still evolving somewhere, it's probably like way more advanced than
It's
what
way more
what we
advanced
have
now.
now.
And that kind of gets back to the white pill for this episode because what this episode is saying is no, 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 no. You don't get to have access to that killer shit. You enjoy your bland dystopia with roach motels and you
Drive
eat
your gray
bugs,
car,
have yourself some,
live in your gray house.
what's that stuff? Keratin.
carrageenan
It's
and
carrageenan.
locust bean
I
paste.
want you to have some carrageenan and some locusts and shut up
Yeah.
and go and put your VR goggles on and sit in your 15-minute apartment. That's what you get.
Go have sex with your robot.
We'll mail you a coffin when you're over it. But they don't want you to have inspiration. They don't want you to have a full life, an exciting life. And
No, because if you have a full life and an exciting life and you have joy and you have ambition, you might actually like want to go out and do some great things and you might want to talk about stuff and you might not want to just follow along with their dull plan.
that's true. And that's a
You
good point. Who do you see doing exciting, awesome stuff right now?
know,
I mean, us.
us.
We are, but who else? I mean, I look around, I don't see anybody doing anything exciting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody's just kind of doing the well-worn path, like I'm Otani, I'm a baseball, and dude,
Yeah,
what does your baseball playing do? Like, why don't you go build something bitching, or
yeah.
create some new system, or create something that's gonna stoke out everybody, like a car that runs on water,
Right. Well,
something like that. That might have been invented.
so some people have been trying to do that kind of stuff
They
and
get unalived.
they get unalived. Their patents get stolen and they get unalived. So I think it's important to just keep talking about these things.
That's the white pill.
That's the white pill because when if you continue to talk about this stuff and bring attention to it and you can reach people who have an open mind,
Yes.
then the more people that know about it, the more people are going to question and
Oh my God.
what?
I just had an epiphany. What if that's what Renaissance 2.0 looks like?
Yeah,
Is we finally unlock all of these secret technologies that they've been hiding from us, and it solves all of the problems that us 8.5 billion people are having.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's solutions to all the problems.
Yeah.
I'm not of the opinion that 8.5 billion people is too many and we all can't live and have stoked out lives.
You know what? I think we might have to do a future episode on this, but I was just learning some things recently about that number might not even be right. That's the latest rabbit hole that I've
That's
tried
like
to.
6 million.
Uh-huh. Like,
6 million cut people from that country from
yeah.
1948 in the ovens.
Uh-huh.
That's
So,
if maybe it's you know what it is? Maybe 8.5 billion is one of those code words that puts people in a spell.
yeah.
And maybe what it does is it convinces them that's too many people. I'm traumatized and now I'm black pilled.
Well, I saw this video and it was a Chinese lady and she was talking about uh like how many people were in China um
1.5 billion.
at she was talking about how many people were in China like in I think it was I forgot what year it was, but like 50 years ago or so. And they remember how China had that one child policy.
Yes. The
So
women, the girls were bayoneted.
yeah, they were only allowed to have one child because supposedly it was overpopulated. So, when that happened, that I knew that was a bad idea. I was a little kid. I don't remember what year that was, but I remember that
Your
there.
spirit abhorred that.
Well, I just knew that just didn't sound logical, and I don't remember if I learned about it after the fact. I just remember being a young child and hearing that whole theory and thinking that doesn't make any sense. And I kept thinking, if that happens, like the population's going to die out. You know what I mean? So what ended up happening there is it's really awful, but like so many people they wanted a boy and they used to kill the baby girl.
They bayoneted
Yeah, it was horrible. So, what's going to happen to a population that only has one sex? They're going to end up with way too many men, right? And that's what the problem was there several years ago. I think it's still happening. And so they were like, kind of bringing in all of these women from like neighboring countries were like kind of getting like coyoted into the country and stuff for a
totally
while.
because there's a bunch of horny men with no women.
There's not enough women. So when you,
And they're all being kind of like made into soldiers to go kill too.
yeah. So when you put all of those things into play in the big picture, if you think about it, how how is the population going to, you know, carry forward if you're not even reproducing at the rate of replacing yourself? You know what I mean?
That's right.
So, like, basically, to replace the population, everybody needs to have like one kid, and if you have less than that, the population is going to decline. People don't really think about that, you
And
know?
they've been slowly but surely conditioning us to be homosexuals and trannies
Yeah.
and promiscuous and
And don't have
don't have
kids. It's
kids, don't
just
have a
terrible.
wife, don't have a family. And then they go, oh, and by the way, because you guys did that, now we have to import 600 million third world barbarians because you're not replacing yourselves.
Yeah, so which is it? Are we overpopulated or are we declining? They're kind of giving us
It's
two.
both, just die.
Yeah, they're giving us two conflicting stories at the same time. Like, oh, the world is overpopulated, but now we need to bring in all these like third world people because you're not replacing yourself at enough
You're not
pace.
replacing yourself, but it's overpopulated. So either way, you have to die.
Yeah. But anyway, this Chinese woman was talking about how the number of kids each person would have to just keep the population like basically the same as it was, and then put into the equation the fact that they each only had one, the each couple only had one child for so many years, and then there were too many men, and so they're not able to replace. All of this stuff adds up to a declining population,
It's a
a
decline.
big time declining population. And they give them this number of, these billions of people living there. And she said that's not accurate. So basically, what she was saying, and I think this is true, this was like kind of like, wow, a light bulb went off in my head when I was listening to this. Um, is that's another one of their lies is that they
Totally.
tell us that there's all these billions of
There's
people,
1.5 billion people in China. Be afraid.
and probably that's a complete lie, and the number of people in the whole world is a complete lie. So they're
Yeah.
telling us that there's more people in the world than there actually is, and actually the population is declining almost everywhere, and they're telling us the opposite because they're trying to make it sound like, oh, we're using up all the
They
resources
want us to pass the point of no return so
yeah,
that we can't
we
save ourselves.
and we're kind of getting to that point, and so they want us to be, eating bugs and doing all this stuff to save the world when actually the population is declining, and if the population dies out, we're not going to save the world. It's just like with everything else, there's too much micromanagement. Just let
That's right.
just let Mother Nature take care of things and things will work out,
Oh,
you know?
totally. That's the gist of this episode. That's why people have become so hard-hearted, is because we're constantly being controlled and
Mhm.
manipulated. And instead of pushing back against it, we become demoralized and just accepted it.
So
So the white
the
pill
white pill,
is don't do that.
yeah, the white
Don't just
pill,
accept this dystopia.
yeah,
Don't accept bland architecture and you're not replacing yourself enough and you need to just accept an austere lifestyle.
go out and buy a red shirt and
Yeah,
and paint one of your fences blue or something, and
totally.
like let's bring color black back into this world
Let's have
and
joy
into our
again.
lives, bring color and life back. And I think, if more people start doing that and talking about it, it's going to bring awareness to it.
I think people have adopted crass materialism too. That was another part of it.
Uh-huh.
Their black-heartedness has caused them to adopt crass materialism. And what I think people can do is they can be determined to have joy in their lives.
Yeah.
They can choose to be happy because the culture club wants you to be miserable.
And you know what? I think adding color into your life can actually add joy and bring happiness.
That's
I
right.
think I think the design of this whole system and to just make everything gray is a way of kind of making everything gloomy, you know?
That's what they want.
Yeah.
Because if you think everything's gloomy, then you're just going to get black pilled.
You're gonna like your dog's in a wheelchair
Your dog's in a
and you're just
wheelchair.
gonna accept it. But
I
you don't
think
have to.
that's the white pill. The white pill is don't have to accept that.
Yeah,
Look,
we don't. Yeah.
dream big, have hope, have love. There's a part of the Bible that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and it goes, love great love covers a multitude of sins.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, people might say, dude, I'm so flawed. Like, I'm a drug addict and a sex fiend or whatever. That's just me, but whatever. So, anyways, people got their flaws, and then the media tells them to beat themselves up over those flaws and to
Oh,
hate themselves.
yeah.
But if you can love other people, you can cover up a multitude of sins. Because I noticed that just caring for my daughter and caring about you and our podcast and just not being so self-absorbed, but thinking about other people, that
Mhm.
might be the white pill.
Yeah.
Because the media teaches us to be selfish
It's true.
and be
Be
self-absorbed,
self-absorbed and be full of self-hatred.
self-hate,
So basically you're just thinking about yourself and hating yourself.
and everyone around you is just foes. They're
Yeah.
just your
Yeah.
foes. These aren't people that you love. Try loving people.
Mhm.
I've tried it. It's hard. There's some people.
Sometimes it's hard.
Well, it is because, a lot of people these days, they behave in ways that I don't approve of.
Right.
Like, you got tattoos on your face, dude. You're all just so superficial. And like, people are such crass materialists these days. Everything's about their money and their status. And that's obnoxious, but I don't have to hate you for that.
Right.
I can maybe, like, even, remember my mom?
Yeah.
She came to visit
She's so sweet.
and she came to visit the podcast, but she thinks that Michelle Obama's podcast is really good. And she thinks that no,
But see, we can,
but
it's okay.
she thinks that Gavin Newsom's good.
Yeah,
She thinks he's great.
I know, but that doesn't, she can
And she
think
goes,
those
Nancy
things.
Pelosi's so wonderful. And I go,
She can
Mom,
think those things and we still like her.
that's the thing.
Yeah,
That's what maybe the white pill is here.
yeah,
Because in a weird way, love is the answer.
it's true. I love
Because
it.
love unlocks joy. And
Yeah.
love can also help you to love yourself.
And it's kind of a vicious circle. If you don't love, you don't have joy. And if you don't have joy,
Yes.
you don't love.
And your
You know
heart
what I
gets
mean?
hard.
Yeah.
You see, what I've learned is hearts change. So when you're a little kid,
Like the Grinch.
like the Grinch,
His grew three
it
sizes.
grew three sizes.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So I think what happens is when we're little kids, we have open hearts.
Yeah.
But then some of us get turned into psychopaths like George Soros. So
Totally.
what happened to George Soros is he was just a normal little boy and he had a big open heart and he had a tender
Supposedly.
heart. He was. It was probably 350 years ago, but it was he was a little boy with an open heart. And then somehow some meanie turned him into a psychopath by traumatizing him and
Yeah.
hurting him. And his heart turned hard.
And he went around and stole the treasures of
I take the
his
treasures.
people that had been taken off
It was a
drinking.
happy making time.
Because if he didn't do it, somebody else would.
If
So,
I don't do it, someone else do. So, but see, that was his heart had already turned hard by then.
right.
What I'm saying is maybe we can turn our hearts tender again.
Yeah.
We've become hard-hearted. We're kind of psychos. Everybody's kind of a psychopath and a triple M to the P. And everybody's out to just like, you disagree with me, I hate you.
Right. So that, yeah, I think the key to that is like what we have in our intro. Keep an open mind.
Keep an open mind.
Because if you remember, I was telling you how I was reading this post on Instagram, this one of the uh, influencers that we follow who follows us back,
Yeah.
which is really nice. She was making a comment about um, how people can't really handle the some ideas that dismantle their belief system. And I commented that it's really almost impossible for most people to keep an open mind. And I think that's where the growth happens. You know what I mean? Like
An open mind.
you have to start at that point. You have to keep an open mind.
That reminds me of this dude. Um, he was with his girlfriend. I know he loved her, but he broke up. And I was hanging out with him and drinking with him at a bar, and he was telling me dude, I'm so bummed I broke up with her. But he's like, but I'm right. I'm right. And what I told him is I said, dude, what would you rather be? Right and alone, or admit that maybe you are right, but you let her believe she's right, but then you stay in love. See, I think
It's
sometimes you have to just be like, maybe I'm right, but I'm not just gonna be like, I'm right.
yeah.
You might have to just be like, okay, maybe I disagree with you, but I love you anyways.
Well, that's a good
I think
point.
people have a hard time with
They do because it's their ego, and I think that's what affects having an open mind. I think people they close their mind because their ego doesn't want to admit that they were wrong about an idea. You know what I mean? So they're just closed off to learning anything new about it. So the
and they get all egotistical about it. Like, how dare you suggest that I'm wrong and you're right?
yeah, and they get really angry. Like, the whole like shape of the world thing really makes people
Totally.
mad. They get super mad, like
Well, dude, that's what I
you're
was
a
surprised.
flat earther, and they get like angry about it, and it's like, well, why do you want to be mad about it? Like,
My ego's invested in my.
yeah, I mean, like, if I'm starting to believe that, that completely goes against like everything I was taught as a child too. And so I was just as tricked as you were,
It makes me think about the vaccines.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you go talk to somebody who took the vaccine and
Hmm.
you say, well, I didn't take it, I saw the writing on the wall, I knew it was wrong, I didn't take it, they're just like, well, I had to take it for my job, and plus, this minimized how sick I got, I didn't have to go to the hospital.
Yeah,
You
or
know?
I saw a comment somebody made on a post the other day about how somebody was like pointing out like all the death rates and all these like strokes and heart attacks that are happening now. And
Oh,
yeah,
from Earth modification?
well,
I'm joking.
they were saying that they were from the Maxines, and
Oh, they were saying,
somebody made a comment saying, well, now, you can't just assume that those are from the Maxines. And I
it
was
could
like,
be Earth mod.
okay, obviously this person took the Maxines, and they, instead of just, you know, opening their mind and realizing that
They got duped.
that's probably the case and they got duped, they just don't want to accept any new information because
Stop being butthurt
the
about
fact
being duped.
the facts like prove that they were tricked and they don't want to accept
They
that.
won't.
Yeah.
And the media also kind of placates them.
Mm-hmm.
So they say, yeah, don't listen to those. Those people are Maxine hesitant.
Yeah.
So they're making stuff up.
It's just the earth modification that's killing people.
That's why soccer players just drop down the field.
So I think the key to
The white
the
people.
white pill, there's been a few white pills that we've prescribed in this episode, but
You gotta have a few of them for this one.
yeah, one of the big ones is you got to keep an open mind. I think
Open mind.
that's the first step.
That's the first step.
Keep an open mind, and when you're talking to people, if you can I think it's important, just, planting seeds because we don't know what the whole world is all about, but we are having
You
conversations.
know what? That's a
And
great point.
yeah, we're having conversations and asking questions. And when we do that, we kind of start having revelations and epiphanies, and we start kind of putting pieces together like it's sort of like a mystery, like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have an open mind to do that,
You gotta.
so but you could be talking with friends, and when you plant seeds, sometimes it takes a while for them to sprout, but sometimes they do. And if somebody
Dismiss them.
yeah, and somebody
You're not better than other people.
no, but you and it might take a while for somebody to open their mind.
There's a Bad Religion song that goes, ad hominem, you think you're better than I am. And it's talking about how people will make an argument, and it's not about the facts of their argument. It's about, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
So I'm right because I'm better than you. I think there's a lot of that. I think people think they're better than you.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I'm sorry, but I'm just superior to you.
Yeah.
Well, you're not better than anybody. Maybe
Remember
that's part of it.
remember my neighbor who got so mad at me, and she hasn't spoken to me for like 8 months now
Mm,
because I
we won't
told her while she was on vacation, I told her that the house sitter would like forgot about the dog for
That was
several
all you
days
said.
and stuff, and I was very nice about it.
And you were actually trying to help her
I
out.
was trying to help her because I thought she might want to know that and maybe not hire that person again. And instead of like questioning that person or getting mad at that person, she got mad at me for telling her that.
She's like, "How dare you suggest that you know something I don't know?"
Yeah, I mean, it was so bizarre. It was like the kind of the epitome of what we're talking about right now, of like having such an ego problem about being right about something that actually, you know, could help you, if you listen, if you
You know
keep an
who's
open
going to go
mind.
through that right now
Mm.
is blue pill Trump supporters.
Oh yeah.
Because now Trump,
Yeah.
it's going to unravel in that he is totally on in the culture club. It's going to come out. He's not going to be able to deny it. He's in the culture club. He does the bidding of that country of 1948.
Hmm.
So there's going to be blue pill Trump supporters that are going to be their egos are going to be wounded by
Oh,
that
totally.
because they went and bought the shirts and the
Yeah.
flags and drove around with it in their trucks.
Yeah. And they are, gonna be really mad if like the people who were telling them before, Trump's not really a good guy, that like those people were kind of right. You
And
know,
I can
they
understand where they're
don't
coming
they
from. I've
don't
said
see it.
this before. If I had been duped into taking the vaccines, I'd be bummed to find out that I was wrong.
Yeah.
It would probably be devastating, maybe even.
Yeah.
But you get over it because this is the thing. We've all been lied to. We've all been duped by something. Like, look at you. It was the Porridge Void.
Yeah.
And those people lives matter. That finally made you go, holy crap, I'm being lied to.
Yeah. I
You
was really bummed out that, I used to watch the Today Show every day. I
ah
know. I know. It's gnarly.
who's the dude?
I loved it. Al Roker and
Matt Pryor
Lauer.
Lauer. He was
Yeah.
the one who's like, oh.
Savannah Guthrie. So I loved watching those
But even
people.
both of them, they both had like full on like downfalls.
I know. So, but I remember like being really mad when I saw them like lying about the whole story because
You
I
were
was,
betrayed
yeah, I
because
was
you
like,
loved them.
what? These are the people I like have coffee every morning and watch this, and I felt like I was getting my news in like a fun way. And I'm like, these people are all liars.
Isn't
They're,
that depressing?
yeah,
Well, that's part of the white pill too, is don't let your heart become bitter and hateful.
yeah.
Even though those people betrayed you and they deserve to have your hate, just love them anyways and just be like, whatever, they're just aligned with evil.
I was thinking maybe they're just dumb and they're just actors reading a script and they
No.
didn't really like actually see what was happening, but I think they have pretty good
Well, they
inside
get paid a
knowledge.
lot of money. Matt
Yeah.
Lauer made fat bank. I saw
Yeah.
his net worth one time and I was like, holy shit.
I know.
So they sold their soul to
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
and they align themselves with evil. But what I think this message is don't allow yourself to become bitter and hateful because those people will behave in that disgusting way. A lot of people behave in disgusting ways. Maybe don't worry about other people's behavior. Just you be the best that you can be and try to love others as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's going to help you to not have this black-hearted, bleak worldview that they want you to have.
Yeah. You know what? That makes me think about your mom. That reminds me.
My mom's a perfect example.
Yeah, well, but because your mom doesn't go along with a lot of our political beliefs and
No,
stuff,
no.
but she's so sweet.
Yeah,
She is, even though she is not in agreement with us and like some of the things we talk about, she's so sweet. She like came and brought us cookies and hot chocolate and
yeah.
was like very excited for us to have
That's the
our
right feeling.
studio, and she was like very celebratory and like very nice about it. I
Did
thought
you
that
do
was,
that with like a bunch of people who took the vaccines?
oh yeah,
Like my mom took the vaccine.
yeah.
And we know she did, but we still want her to come over to the podcast. And like, I talk to her all the time. I love her.
Yeah, I know there's people who've like done things that I don't agree with, but I can still be friends with them. Now, once somebody has a German Shepherd moment though, that changes everything.
No, that's true. You're right. And you have to be careful. This is not about like go hang out with people and cast your pearls before swine. It's don't allow yourself to become bitter and hateful
Right.
and self-centered.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are they're self-centered, so maybe let's try to be loving,
And
and I think love might be the answer for this one because the whole premise of this episode that was my initial impetus of the idea was the heart of America has become hardened and black.
And
If you go back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and you just look at like a normal television show or a normal song, you can tell that the culture was just more loving.
exactly. So we need to get it back to that point.
Yeah.
So we need to keep an open mind
Keep an open mind,
and be loving.
be more loving,
And in turn, we will have more joy. And when you have
and have
more
joy.
joy, when you have joy and love, you spread joy and love.
And what
And
goes hand in hand with it too? Hope.
hope, love, and joy.
That's right.
That's great. I think this was a beautiful first
This
episode
was
in
our
our new
first
space.
episode.
And, we're still working out some of the sound issues. We're hoping that it's better, but we're going to do some more things to make it even more better.
So what we're going to
So,
get in the habit of doing now that we're in the show, let's start turning over a new page here.
okay,
What we're going to do is at the end, we're going to tell people follow us on Rumble,
follow
follow
us on,
Butterfly manages our Instagram account.
yeah,
Go follow her and us on Insta.
in Unslave Your Mind podcast.
Unslave Your Mind podcast. Follow us on X. I have an X account, and I we don't get any traction there, but we have an account there. I'm posting clips there.
Follow us on
So
YouTube. Nobody listens on
nobody
YouTube.
listens on
And
YouTube. I'm gonna start putting shorts out
we've
there.
been banned on YouTube several
We've been
times
banned on
for
YouTube, but you
talking about
can't. We're
stuff.
getting a lot of traction in Australia.
Hmm.
We're getting a lot of traction in Singapore. Lots of people in Africa listening to
Yeah,
us.
Vietnam.
So I think our message of human freedom is resonating
I
worldwide.
think it's a worldwide
So
message.
people are listening on Apple. What's the Apple? Is it iTunes? It's not iTunes. It's
It's
Apple
Apple's,
Podcasts.
yeah,
Apple Podcasts,
Spotify.
Spotify, and there's a few others. But now it's www.unslaveyourmindpodcast.com. That's our website.
Yeah,
And now we're in the office. We're going to have more time to be able to work on that. We're going to start fleshing that out. We're going to have t-shirts, a member portal. We're going to have all of our episodes posted there. You can email us and you can watch our episodes on there too.
right. And you can find all of our old episodes on Rumble too.
Rumble is our what do
Rumble's.
they call it? Our library.
Yeah, that's a good place to go
That's
find
a good. It's our repository,
some. Sometimes we refer to older episodes, and so if you want to go back and check out one of those episodes, you can find it there.
and I think they're evergreen. Even if they're
Yeah,
topical, they're still evergreen
yeah,
because we're talking about things that are prescient. Even like because I go back and listen to some of our old episodes, and they're not stale.
yeah.
Well, like today's episode.
It's not like listening to yesterday's news,
No,
right?
it's not. It's pertinent.
Yeah.
It's pertinent.
Yeah. So we want to thank our listeners
Thank you.
because we are talking to you
Yes,
and we're hoping that you will talk to your friends about these things. And together we're going to change the world,
that's what I think we
right?
are. I think we're a movement.
We're going to have a revolution.
That's right. We're a
All
movement, not like my dad would have in the bathroom. We're a different kind of
right.
movement.
That was awesome.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.